everybody, and welcome to Untethered.tv. I'm your host and founder, Rob Woodbridge. And you know why you come here every week. This is the place that you find out how to leverage mobile for your business. Now, that might mean simple things, really simple things, like actually having a mobile website. It also might mean to you a deeper engagement with your customers. It might mean loyalty. It might mean brand extension, brand enduring, actually building a deeper brand relationship with your customer. And that's what we're here to talk about. How can mobile help you enhance your relationship with your customer? How can it help you as a brand dig deeper with your customer and actually make them love you a little bit more? Joining me today is Alexis Rask, who is the VP and GM of Brand Partnerships for Shopkick. If you haven't heard of Shopkick, where have you been? They actually help make shopping better by using the power of mobile. And it's not only while you're shopping, it's before you shop, it's during your shopping experience, it's after your shopping experience. And that's what we're here to talk about. Alexis, thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate having you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob.
So the first question is, well, so you guys are in we were just talking about it before we actually started filming, that you are in the Bay Area and you are jammed into an office space because there is a lack of office space. But it's the true startup feel, isn't it? Like that's what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. We are on University Avenue in Palo Alto. We are a 10-minute drive to our board of directors over our board of investors over on Sand Hill Road. And it is what you think of. There are engineers sitting behind me on a Friday afternoon cranking out some things. There's candy and snacks and post-Halloween stuff to fuel everyone going. And we're growing like crazy, and in a couple hours, we'll all get together for a company all hands to talk about the data, to talk about what we've accomplished for the week, and to talk about what's next. So very classic entrepreneurial environment. And like you said in the introduction, trying to use mobile to change the world.
And that's, it's so appealing, right? The vision that you guys have, the viewpoint that you have, the fact that you were early starters in this space, and the fact that you really are, at the, I don't know, would you consider yourself at the epicenter of what's going on in the whole mobile loyalty retail experience?
Yeah, so I would actually consider us to be, and this is my personal opinion and my background factoring in, I would consider us to be at the epicenter of what's really going on in mobile, period. Because I think every marketer, every retailer, every brand, every small business knows they need to be doing something in mobile. And primarily it has to do with connections with consumers to drive business. So there's lots of categories underneath the umbrella of mobile. There's network space, there's mobile connected to TV, there's loyalty. But what I think I made a bet 5 months ago, and I can tell you a little bit about how I ended up here. But I think that mobile's connection to commerce is the most interesting part of the mobile space, and I think we're at the epicenter of that. So,
and I share that so passionately with you. Is that these devices that we carry around with them are conduits to commerce, and they're not just conduits to commerce. They are they remove obstacles to purchase. Right, this thing you should be able to do everything from it, and I think that you're right. You guys are right in the middle of this. Very cool.
Yeah, they remove and create obstacles to purchase, right? Depending on the app you're using or the use case or the environment that you're in. And so you can view some of that as a crisis. You can view some of that as an opportunity. There's some combination thereof. But we think that there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for people to transact through mobile, but to use mobile to inform transactions even that happen in the physical space, and that the way we all behave as consumers, there's moments in time where everything could be done through the phone, and there's moments in time where we want to see and feel and touch and physically engage. And so if we can figure out a way to make that shopping experience and that commerce experience better and more delightful, all the better for the consumer and all the better for the manufacturer or retailer.
So is that the essence? Like if you were to ask what the essence of what Shopkick is doing is that what you just described to me?
Yeah, so I always think of products under the lens of what is their essence for the consumer first, and then if you've got a really great value proposition for the consumer, the essence of your business model becomes pretty clear. So I think the essence of the product for consumers is we are a loyalty program done right for mobile as an app. People absolutely love loyalty programs. There's some absurd stat like the average US household is enrolled in 18 loyalty
Wow.
programs.
18.
I 18. I travel a ton for business, so you can pretty well assume that I stay in one set of hotels and I try to book predominantly through one airline, and there's a particular credit card in my wallet that I use most often. And I do it because I want to get something back for all that time and money spent. I'm doing these things anyway, and it feels so good to have some reward come back to me on top of that. And so Syriac and Jeff and Aaron, when they were founding the company and kind of thinking this through 3 years ago, said there's something to be done in the loyalty space related to shopping, but shopping is a tough category. You don't shop at just one store or one chain of stores. And even if you love a particular manufacturer's products, that's not the only set of merchandise that you buy. So if we could build a cross retailer, cross brand loyalty program and let that live on mobile, that's as easy as it gets for consumers. And that's how you make shopping more fun, more rewarding, and more personal. And you do it in a format that's easy to access and is sort of umbilical and it's always with you. So you're not fumbling around with cards and losing things and whatever. So there's a slide that I like to use at some point that just shows a phone completely covered and littered with loyalty apps. And the question is, do you want to behave like this? Do you want to shop like this? And most people say, no, I don't. I want one central repository where most of my activity can funnel into because it's easier to manage and I earn my rewards faster. And so I get the payoff and the treat faster. And so that's the essence of the business idea. And then there for consumers and how we've kind of grown a user base. And then there's natural implications to say if you're going to be a loyalty program for shopping anywhere and everywhere, you need to ascribe points values and give those rewards for high value behaviors on the shopping path to purchase. And so we work with the country's largest and kind of premier retailers and most of the world's leading manufacturers and brands to give those points and rewards and that currency along the shopping journey. And that's the essence of the business side.
Isn't it? It's so funny because the way you describe it is 3 years ago would have been revolutionary, right? I mean, the idea that back then, I think that there was an inkling of what the opportunity was, and there was. I mean, 2009, there was. People understood what mobile meant, and they were heading towards something. But, in 2012 and beyond, it's like this seems like such a logical step. I mean, everybody's got a device. Everybody should be doing this. Loyalty is your phone. But there are a lot of people out there that still think that there are brands that are building their own loyalty applications and think that the consumer is that loyal. And it's kind of crazy because the erosion of brand loyalty is a result of mobile simply because you can now name your price to anything. If you don't like it, you can if I don't like it here, I can just go over here and get it for cheaper, right? So that's a big challenge for retailers, for restaurants, for anybody in business now, is that consumers seem to be a little bit more fickle these days and loyalty is fleeting. Is that what you're seeing?
It is. And, everyone still has their absolute favorite brands and their favorite places they shop, whether that's a national chain or a local business or the restaurant around the corner. And we are not seeing people pull out of loyalty programs with those individual owners completely. It's just that you're not going to have an app and a loyalty program for the 40 different stores that you most commonly shop at. You might pick 1 to 2, and hopefully Shopkick is complementary in the case of those 1 to 2 and supplementary for the rest. I personally have a couple of shopping related loyalty programs that I love and I get a lot of value from, and I use them in addition to this. But I think you're right, and there's something that hopefully will come to, which is marketers are not investing as heavily in creating long-term brand loyalty maybe as they once had. And there's a lot of competition through coupons and offers. And ultimately, you're seeing brands compete and try to drive sales based on deals versus equity. And
Oh, doesn't that drive you crazy?
yeah, I think there's some recalibration or relevel setting to be done.
Everybody jumped into that, right? The discount world very quickly, and they thought that, and I think they mistook that for loyalty.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where you could be standing in line with a product that you wanted to buy, and somebody would offer you a 40% discount for being there, about to buy a product you were willing to pay full price for. And that's a really quick way to go to business. And that's not loyalty. That's setting an expectation that all of a sudden that product is now worth 60% of what the price tag is. And the next time I'm in there, you're going to be doing the same thing to me, right? So we made some mistakes, I think, early on.
Yeah, we'll come to that, but there's a lot of brands that we talk to who have a really love-hate relationship with coupons and discounts. Love them because they're ultimately trackable and you understand redemption to the individual level. Hate them because of margin implications and equity implications. And we talk to a number of partners who are trying to kind of move back out of a hole that they've dug into, going from being a premium brand at a premium price with a prestige association to something playing more in a lower price category and not having the differentiation and trying to move back up the hill there.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm not gonna. I don't even know if they're a customer. It sounds like Banana Republic, right? That's exactly what they've done. Anyways, we will get into the whole brand piece. One of the things that I'm really interested in about people that get into this mobile space is what attracts them to the mobile space. You are a New York. You said, like, I will never leave Manhattan. Here you are in the middle of Silicon Valley. How did this happen? How did you end up? What was the appeal of a company like Shopkick to bring you across the country? And I was just, I had to bring this out because, like, I am a Yankees fan.
I mean, and go Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I live in San Francisco.
You have to do that, right? Yeah, it's like go
Yeah.
Giants, but
Awesome.
damn, I wish the Yankees won the world. So,
Yeah.
you move
Thank you.
from New York to San Francisco to work, or to basically the heart of Silicon Valley to work for Shopkick. What was it about that? What was it about the company that moved you over there?
Sure. So I've been in the .com side of the space for all of my career. I worked at Google when it was really just a search company.
When it knew what it
they-
was, when it knew what it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it is very successfully being a lot more
Yes.
than
Yep.
that. And I think one of the kind of best in class examples in a number of different categories. But when I worked there, AdWords was the core business, and I understood the very early days of expression of intent and how powerful it was to a marketer to find and flag an expression of intent and to be able to in real time present something that could harness and direct that intent towards you as the ultimate solution. After spending a couple of years at Google, I actually went to LinkedIn when it was 40 people in the old crummy offices and not yet something that everyone was using to manage their professional life and their professional network. And so made the pivot into social via professional early days, and built out their marketing solutions team, and actually did that in New York because New York is the epicenter of the ad industry. And I spent a lot of time running up and down Madison Avenue into all the digital agencies, kind of building business from the ground up. And so I felt like I understood search, I understood social. At a certain point, I ended up going to Federated Media, another company based out here in the Valley, but with a very big footprint in New York, on the kind of content publishing, blog, independent media side. So if you look at my experience across the web, I know search, I know display and social, I know kind of content and publishing side and content marketing and amplification, and I value all of those experiences. But what I missed most was having that kind of connection to real intent-based, moving the needle for business partners. And Reid Hoffman is someone I know through previous life at LinkedIn and is one of our board members and investors here. I obviously, had long conversations with Syriac, with Jeff, with the entire team about everything. And I just said, I see two things at Shopkick beyond wanting to work in mobile to round things out next. So number one is I want to work in mobile. Why do I want to work at Shopkick? Because we have an expression of intent to shop. Holding your phone and holding this in your hand and doing this and using our app means I'm either ready to shop and I'm at home and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next, or I'm walking into the store at this exact moment. So I wanted to go back to a business that was completely connected to that moment of truth. And I also wanted to go to a company that was trying to transform and improve an existing space. We're not trying to rebuild a category that doesn't exist or kind of create something out of nothing. Retail is in a period of flux because of a number of factors, mobile being one of them. And it's really interesting to think about how mobile can be used to improve the in-store experience, not just pull people out of it, and to make a better guest experience and to make it more fun and interactive and engaging and personal to be in store. So I just thought it checked every box. Awesome team, awesome category, awesome business problem, and a clear value proposition for partners.
It's probably except for Federated Media, but even then, it's kind of an obscure concept, right? Federated Media, but it seems to me like the Shopkick is the most solid and clearest definition of a business compared to something like Google back in the day and LinkedIn back in the day before they were proven revenue generators, especially LinkedIn. And now obviously LinkedIn is kicking it when it comes to revenue. They're an example. Yeah. It's funny and so I mean that it's so interesting and another point on that is it's you said that, listen, we're trying to create that in-store experience and leveraging mobile to enhance that experience, whether it's, more information about a product or enabling inventory that doesn't exist on the shelves to be able to purchase, all that kind of stuff. But, the decade from 95 to 2005 and a little bit beyond, where it was all about e-commerce and it was all about sitting at home and shopping and not going into stores and not going, physically traveling to a mall. And it was the first hint that I heard of the death of the mall. And it's funny how that kind of, now people are looking at this saying mobile can actually help in store. And I think that shift is pretty fascinating. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. And, it's sometimes dangerous to consider yourself to be representative of all of the consumers who will use your product.
Right. Yes.
I like to go shop. There are certain things that, yes, I want to order from the convenience of my home and I want them delivered the next day or the next week or what have you. But I like to go in and touch something and try something on and engage with something and kind of add things to my basket that maybe weren't on my shopping list. And so for me, I could just put myself in the mindset of our average user and fully understand what value I would get out of it, as well as put myself in the mind of a marketer and understand what value I would get out of it on that side.
Yeah.
I think your question, I think your point is right. This is more clear and more specific and more crystal than some of my prior experiences. Yeah.
And they turned out well. I mean, if you meet Reid Hoffman, that's a good enough outcome for a lot of these things, right? And if you prove yourself, and that's it's a fascinating time, especially with what you guys are doing. And I think that to do this for 3 years and to be able to build this out for 3 years and generate the kind of buzz that you guys and the investors that you guys have created and the traction that you've created with some of the big brands, it means that you have to be succeeding at this. You have to be thinking forward. You have to actually have helped these poor retailers that everybody is lamenting the death of the retailer, but you guys are out there helping them drive activity, drive revenue. The challenge of loyalty is that it's very difficult. It's fleeting right now because the power that the consumer has. How do you guys combat that? How do you help your customers get their customers to come back into the store and drive revenue that way? Because ultimately, loyalty to me means that you can charge a little bit more, that you're servicing your customer at a place where they're not looking They're not looking at a competitor based on price. They're willing to pay a little bit more because they actually have an affection or an affliction with your brand. So how do you create that loyalty?
Sure. So I think there's two things that we help with there. If we can make shopping more fun and we can make it more rewarding, both of those things from a psychological standpoint as well as an economic standpoint motivate consumers to behave differently. So if we can drive a delightful, fun, interactive in-store experience, guest experience, and help our retail partners among the many things that they're doing to build an awesome in-store experience, if we can be one multi-channel layer of that, I think that's a good place to start. We look at incrementality by a number of different definitions. Most importantly, do we drive incremental foot traffic? Do we drive incremental basket size? Do we drive incremental buy rate on something that someone tends to buy really infrequently and maybe show it to them in a context that gets them to buy more regularly? So we look at and measure all of those things with our partners. As you would imagine, there are some data points that I can't share that are very specific and very interesting, but are not ours to make public to the world.
But they're good.
But they're very good.
Okay, you can say that.
They're very good, but I will give you an example.
Yes, please.
Black Friday is an important time of year for everyone in the retail space, Shopkick included. Last Black Friday, we saw a ton of walk-ins, which is our version of measuring foot traffic into store. A walk-in literally means I was standing outside of the store, now I'm standing inside of the store. Shopkick's technology has recognized that precise movement into the store, and the retailer has given me rewards just for walking in. So immediately I'm feeling good. I got points just for coming to the store. Now I'm warm, I'm engaged, I'm ready to go have a fun trip. So Black Friday last year was our biggest walk-in day ever. Then we said, what if we did another day? Not the real Black Friday, fake Black Friday. Black Friday 2, yes. We'll call it. We're just going to pick a random Friday, and all of our retail partners will offer big walk-in rewards. And we'll see, did we only have that big foot traffic because people were going to shop anyway last Black Friday? Or did we drive something incremental because of the access point and relationship that we have with the consumers to push to them to tell them something was happening? We drove more foot traffic on Black Friday 2 than we drove on the real Black Friday. And then we did it again. And then, so we've done 4 Black Fridays, only one of which was the real one. And each one drove more and more and more foot traffic. And we leveraged our social channels and our partners got involved. So we are literally changing the game that if you go to a particular retailer, let's say once a week, we can be the reason you go twice. Wow. In a different category, maybe you only go see that retailer once or twice a year. If we could bring you in a third time, we are adding incrementality. Then if you think on the manufacturer side, what if we could get you to the shelf to actually physically pick up and engage with a product that you weren't thinking about buying today, or that you really only bought for this one purpose once a year? Could we drive incremental buy rate? And we've proven partner by partner, program by program, that we do all of those things. So we are in the business of driving incrementality, and that helps build loyalty and it helps create better equity.
Do you think that that's the reason you guys are succeeding in this space? Because it's very crowded now, right? Like, it's very crowded. There, I think, are literally 1 billion companies that are trying to do this and help retailers, drive footfall, drive traffic, and manufacturers drive sales on shelves. And it's so liberating because I love it now that the manufacturer has an ability to influence a decision on a grocer's shelf, right? It's not up to the grocer anymore. But but do you think that it's just that diligent focus on kind of literally, okay, so your metric is this. All we want you to do is either come a second time to the store, or when you're in there, we want you to buy a second product or a third product. Like those kind of incremental wins keep you guys so focused, but also keep you focused on the right thing, which is literally getting your customers more money, right? Is that why you guys have been so successful?
I mean, I think there are other companies who have their own focus and their own approach to doing it. We obviously think that the focus on rewards as much as
Gotcha.
offers is a differentiator. We're not just giving out rewards for low value actions. We're giving out rewards for high value shopping behaviors and actions. We are presenting good deals and offers as they are timely and relevant as well. But so there's more to do than just discover a better booklet of
Right.
coupons inside of the app. And there's more to do than just earn rewards points. There's product discovery. We made a really big release just 2 weeks ago in the 3.0 version of our app that is heavily focused on curated content and editorial to inspire the shopper and to surface up products and recipes and tactics and things that they might not have thought about before the next shopping trip. So I think and credit to our product team on this and our developers on this, we have thought through how to use game mechanics that actually have a point.
It's good. It's important.
Everyone loves game mechanics. They're fun, you engage, but you really stay with it if there's a monetary tie-in, but it's not just a monetary tie-in, there's a fun. So all of these things kind of interplay. And then ultimately, what I think we do a little bit differently than some of the other companies in the space is we have a sort of triangular ecosystem of value where consumers, retailers, and manufacturers all play. Each one gets more value the more there are others in the
Yeah.
ecosystem. And so as we grow, the triangle just kind of gets bigger and better, and more users make everything else better, more retailers make everything else better, etc.
Well, how do you guys decide what goes in, right? So the beauty of mobile is its simplicity, right? Is that you want to hide all the complexity behind one button that just says "do what I need it to do right now," hit the button and it's done, right?
Yeah.
So how do you guys decide that? Listen, curated content is the thing. We want to get into product discovery, and add these, add gamification, the proper approach for gamification. How do you decide that these are the features that should be in this product when you are seeing traction with the product as it exists today, or as it existed 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was a bold move to
Yeah.
re-envision. I mean, we re-envisioned the UI, which I think we did a gorgeous
Yes.
job on, and a design facelift is a good thing to look at whenever you feel like you've been in market for a couple of years. But your question is, why did we add and create some additional
Yep.
functionality and complexity that consumers would have to learn? Because that is not a choice we take lightly. It is still a pretty small screen, and you don't have a lot of time to get people to understand what they should do with the app. And the reason is we had data that consumers were using our product 3 hours and 19 minutes a month, and they were spending 9 sessions a month with us. And about 6 of those sessions on average were before the store visit, and then 3 of those sessions were in the store visit, and then there was some overlap in those 9 visits where it was used in both kind of pre-store and in-store session. So why would you use an app pre-store that only rewards you for in-store? Because you're looking for what you're going to do when you go to the store.
You're planning
So
your spend.
there was this glaring data point that told us people are starving for kind of planning and getting ready and discovery. And we had an okay to like pretty average version of that factored in. And so if we were going to build a more beautiful design that just kind of fit within the image of our business and our partners, we should also think about how to create an experience that paid forward on how the consumers wanted to use Shopkick.
So that was just basically looking at the data, right? That's how you came to that determination.
Yeah, data and really good instincts. And like I said, we have some very smart folks here on the product side who understand how to kind of talk to some of our power users, who understand just kind of, good addictive design as well. And it was, like I said, not a choice we made lightly, because just putting more content into an experience doesn't necessarily make it better. To your point, it might actually make it more confusing and more cumbersome. So we said, would this help make Shopkick more compelling to our consumers? Yes, if we did it right. Do we know how to do it right so that there's something differentiated about our approach to it? And the answer was yes, we thought we could. So now when you come to the app, you see this kind of couch mode at home presentation of the stores and the things that are, potentially nearby you. And you can browse through and you can look at LookBooks, which are our version of kind of little narrated stories or mini magazines or circulars inside of the app. And you can favorite products and you actually remember. It's like when you dog ear the page in a catalog. And the next time you go to a store where their product is sold, it'll remind you and it'll say, hey, Alexis, you had looked at that sweater. You had thought about buying that. Don't forget it today. Boom.
Go get it.
Yeah, go get it. Exactly. So we thought that there was something that we could do to improve the experience. And that's why it was worth taking the big bet on the redesign. And the data that I can share early on is, not only are our new user numbers going really well, but on average, consumers are looking at 10 times the amount of product offers and content before they go to store, and walk-ins are up 60%, and scans of product are up more than 60%. So
there's a direct correlation with sitting in your couch, choosing the product that you're going to go and buy, and that closing rate.
Exactly. And I think, if we've said that in the marketing space, there's been some guilt on all sides of kind of over-reliance on coupons as the only way to close the sale, there's also probably an overemphasis on any marketing tactic to just close the sale and not to go through the effort of building awareness, driving consideration, creating some intent before trying to close the sale. So when we think about how we work with manufacturers and marketers, we say, well, you used to kind of separate your worlds between brand marketing and shopper marketing. Brand marketing happened outside of the store, TV, print, premium web. Shopper marketing happens in the stores with displays and circulars, etc. Well, mobile's with me both places. Can't you do it all? Can't you do that kind of full marketing funnel or full path to purchase all through mobile, all through Shopkick, where you get me on the couch and you get me in the mindset of I'm thinking, I'm planning, I'm inspired, and you present some things to me that I might not have otherwise considered. And then when I go in store, you actually give me a reason to go to the shelf and to engage with those products to ultimately be at the point where I can make the decision to leave with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because it's Gary Vaynerchuk that talks about this, is that you never try to close on the first date. Like, you're a 19-year-old guy and you try to close on the first date, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's that analogy that I often think about, is that you want to reduce the friction to purchase. That's the goal here, and mobile can do that. So do you see a time where like I mean that a lot of your revenue or a lot of the sales happen sitting on the couch as opposed to going into the store, as opposed to creating that anticipation? Or is it really about that? To me doesn't sound like it's a deep brand engagement, right? That's not brand loyalty. That's just me wanting to buy this product right now. But do you see that day happening when quite literally you're driving more traffic, more revenue, more sales for these stores from the couch than in the store?
We don't see it yet because that would be all through m-commerce or e-commerce done through mobile. And right now, what we've proven that we do is we make the physical brick and mortar shopping experience better. That doesn't mean that we'll never connect to any other part of the shopping experience, or that consumers won't have a choice in kind of how and when and where they buy. We understand that they do. But I don't see us going to a place in the near term at all where purchase is all kind of done through the couch. Because again, a lot of the types of categories and a lot of the products are things that you want to experience in store because they're higher consideration purchases, or because you want the instant gratification that they're restocking sort of purchases and categories. And either way, you actually want an in-store visit to do some of that shopping.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's very interesting because I love the clarity of the vision here, right? Which is you believe in the retail industry. Bricks and mortars are not going away. This entire, this concept that the stores are going to disappear and malls are going to disappear, they just might change a little bit. But
Sure.
But I love this idea, right, of loyalty, because it is so obscure to me. I mean, I don't go out and shop very often, but I'm loyal to certain brands. I'm loyal to my grocery store because I know the aisles, right? I know where things are, and when they change it up, I get all screwed up. And it's like, a 1 hour trip is like 4 hours, and I never come back with the things I need. But so the loyalty is sometimes is fleeting for me. But one thing I see a lot of retailers out there doing is it's that coupon and that discount code is that they entice you in with a discount. And then, so they're giving you that discount before you walk in the store. And I always shake my head and I think, boy, I should have to earn that discount. I should have to, be loyal to you to a certain extent, whatever that trigger is. And then you send me something that is a benefit because
you unlock it.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's interesting because, the combination of that couch and store is that if I've shopped 15 times at a store, 20 times at a store, I'm loyal. Or if you have some way of measuring the fact that I've told 15 of my friends and they've bought $1,000 worth of product, right? So it's tangible. Then it comes back to me where I could be sitting on my couch and say, listen, because you're so loyal, we have a 48-hour special just for you. Come into the store or buy online, whatever it is, and test the conversion rates that way. But it's an outcome of all my inputs to that store, as opposed to just getting something for free for a discount for walking in. So, but are you still seeing stores that are doing it in reverse?
Yeah. So what you're talking about is kind of personalization of offers and having to unlock access to those special VIP deals or CRM level, special customer level deals. We are not seeing stores move purely to that model yet. We are kind of seeing and talking, in conversations with our retail partners in particular about how to do exactly what you just described. Maybe there are certain deals and discounts and offers that are available to everyone based on seasonality, based on X, Y, or Z factors. But then there are special things that are only for the most loyal, the most high value, the VIP set. And is Shopkick a really good indicator of one of your loyals or one of your VIPs? And so maybe there are some special offers and deals and promotions that are only offered by a retailer or manufacturer to a Shopkick user base. And maybe you even have to do something inside of Shopkick to build up towards it. So a new part of the mechanic in our recent release that I don't know if you've experienced yet is building up your walk-ins. If you just walk into one of our partners, you might earn 35 kicks or 50 kicks. But if you had consumed a bunch of the content that they had presented to you over a matter of days or sessions before you came in, perhaps you were going to have access to 100 kicks for that walk-in instead of the 35 or 50 that the other shopper would have access to. So again, we're looking for signals and we're looking for behaviors to reward. And so you'll see us long-term fine-tune more and more behaviors that we think express value and express seriousness and express quality and offer better rewards for that. And I think our partners will come along with us.
But see, there's so many forks from that, right? There's so much potential. I'd love to be a part of your planning meeting, sitting there thinking, okay, you know what we could do? You know what you could do? You could do this and this and this. And then somebody has to have that ability to say, okay, guys, we got to just focus on the things that we can influence right now. And it's incremental. It's about how we can do something for our customers incrementally. I love that. Yeah. And wrapping your vision around it, or your head around that vision, is so important.
Yeah. We could spin ourselves in a lot of different directions, and good leadership is so key. And Syriac is a visionary with great focus and can sit and whiteboard out, the 15 ideas that could potentially change the world, and then say, okay, here's how we're going to pick and prioritize.
Here's the first one.
Be able to pick and prioritize.
Yeah. It's so important. As well. Okay, well, speaking of picking and prioritizing, I got to ask you these. There's two sets of questions that I want to ask, and then the last thing I want to do is just kind of ask you about kind of the future, where Shopkick sees this whole thing going. We've touched on a little bit of it, but maybe a summary. So the two sides of this is, one is kind of loyalty, customer loyalty, and the second one is brand building. So what, and this is where I'm going to ask you for some help, some tips. So for people out there that are trying to figure this out, retailers, restaurants, anybody that actually has a customer that you want to come back, or that you want to increase basket size, or frequency, what's some advice that you can give to create loyalty? And then from the brand's perspective, what can they do? Some advice that you can give them in order to be able to dig deeper and create a much deeper bond, I would say, with that consumer. So is there any advice that you can provide here where people can start?
Yeah, I think in building loyalty, giving something to get something, recognizing and understanding how much time, money, frequency someone spends with you. So just having an ability to track and understand the difference between person A and person B and what they might mean to you, and then deciding how to incentivize them to remain loyal, to become more loyal, to tell others to be loyal, I think are things for anyone to think about, big business, small business, otherwise. We think that a points scoring system that ties back to currency has worked particularly well for us. That's not the only way to do it, but it's kind of one of those everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten kind of models. Know how to build good relationships as a business owner with your customer base. You do it by giving something and getting something, by not kind of shouting and having verbal diarrhea about this and that and the other thing, but having focus and clarity of message and purpose. And so it's really just a matter of the discipline of practicing what you know is kind of good interpersonal relation dynamics as a business to your customer base.
It's so simple, right? The thought that, listen, just be good to your customer and the customer will be good to you. Ultimately, it has been like that since the early days of loyalty and brand loyalty. But are you worried that there is going to be that erosion in the middle? Like there are premium brands right now. I kind of alluded this to the Banana Republic. Because I know that Gap Inc. strategy was, listen, low end, Old Navy, mid-end, the Gap, and then higher mid-end, I would say. But in that chain, high-end was Banana Republic. But they went on this massive email discount campaign, and now every Wednesday they send out coupons for 40% off. And they've now made all of them flat, right? Everything is cheap there now, and I won't go there unless I have a discount. So, are they a customer before I even go on for this?
Old Navy is a partner.
Okay, so Old Navy's fine, but and I can understand that, but the Banana Republic, what can they do now to like, just as a suggestion, what can they do now to recover from this? Because I look at this and it's no longer about $100 pair of jeans or $150 pair of jeans. It's like that pair of jeans is now worth $92 to me, and I'm not going to spend $150 on a pair of jeans in that store. They've done a disservice to their brand, I would say. How do they augment that? How can something like Shopkick help them build up that equity again with me? So I'm going to spend $150 or $175 on a pair of jeans without issue.
Yep. So I won't make a comment on Old Navy or Gap or Banana.
Somebody in that space.
But what you're saying is you used to think of spending full price as perfectly acceptable because the quality and the prestige of the individual merchandise as well as the experience and the service was worth it, and you've now been conditioned to only be comfortable spending money when it comes at a discount. Right. So it strikes me that anyone who's gotten themselves into that position has two choices. One is mark the product up so that you're kind of artificially setting a high barrier off of which you discount, which is probably not my recommended model.
Cheap, yes.
And the second would be find other ways to rebuild, right? What are the ways that you can rebuild perception of quality, perception of service, perception of personalization that kind of take you up and up and up and up back towards that $150 level from 92. And it's probably an investment in time to move back up that scale. But think about when you go to a retail location and someone asks if they can start you a fitting room and then asks you if you'd like a little bottle of water. Right. while you're shopping, or they are walking around the store and they're able to check you out without you having to wait in line at a register. There are service-based things, there are experiential things that can be done to recreate that feeling that you're in a kind of, well curated, well managed environment that hopefully can take the focus away from just the deal and the discount. And so that's advice agnostic of the retailer in question, but I think that's the longer term investment to get back to that
well
point.
It is, and it's so it's like crack. Like the discounts are like crack sometimes, where you get a little fidgety when you don't do a discount and nobody walks in the door, and that would be alarming to me. And maybe a simple way even would be just don't give 40% off every week. Just give 20% off. Like reduce that increment so that it's where I at some point I feel like 10% is a good enough deal for me to walk in there. Right?
Perception is I got a discount versus it to be this big. There's also there's scarcity, right? Demand. Right. Any basic economics class shows you that if you can have demand that outstrips supply, price elasticity changes dramatically. Yes. So, I think Target does a fabulous job of having moment in time, very exclusive, limited in quantity executions with some of their designer partners. And, they kind of go through the inventory enormously quickly because people are so excited about that. And those products aren't sold at a discount at all. So not everyone should go copy and repeat that exact model either. What works for one doesn't work for everyone else. But there is something to be done around having precious few of something that's in high demand and using that as a reason not to have to do anything from a discount standpoint. And then the consumer gets excited for the next time it comes. And there's no better way to create loyalty than to have people waiting for the next time you do something along those lines.
And obviously the perfect way to deliver that is through a mobile device, right? So that, that ability to take action right away, even if it means you get notification because you're a loyal customer and you can reserve it for 2 hours and then get into the store, right? That's the kind of thing that you want to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's so fascinating because retail is not new, right? We've shown a light on it as in a mobile perspective, but the way that a register is set up at the back of a store and the impulse buys on your way through the cash register. This is all, the whole reason that the registers are in the back of the store is to facilitate transaction, is to make you browse in a store. And this psychology of shopping and retail and loyalty has been going on for so long. And I just love the fact that you can apply this technology, this mobile technology, to enhance that experience and enhance those relationships. So it's very cool. I got to ask though.
Okay.
So, you've just done this release. You see some trends that are obviously popping up that you're very happy about. Is there kind of like how do you hope that Shopkick shapes this industry, the retail industry, the loyalty industry, the brands? If you were just to project, if we were talking 2 years from now, what would you hope that you have accomplished as a company by that point when it comes to this industry?
Sure. I would hope that we've helped the whole category grow and tip, because if you look at all mobile apps and you look at different categories like content apps and music apps and mapping apps and shopping apps and other lifestyle-based apps, I think the category is actually relatively small and not as many people are yet shopping and using kind of these lifestyle-based apps in our particular category like they're doing with music and mapping and some others. So hopefully we've created a reason for a lot of people who are on smartphones to do either things with us or things with folks like us. I think we will be successful if we have helped the manufacturers figure out how to build equity with their consumer versus just provide deals. And we will have helped in a dramatic way if our retailers don't feel like their world is under fire and at the brink of collapse, but rather they've reimagined how the physical brick and mortar experience factors into the overall experience that people have in transacting with them. So there's distinct challenges along, like I said, each side of that triangle, and I hope that we help with all of them. And then I think that the kind of industry is moving towards mobile wallet. And is there a winning mobile wallet? Do consumers want a mobile wallet? What's going on in the mobile payment space and all of that? So I think you'll see us invest in developing for and testing into mobile wallets so that consumers have one good kind of place to organize all of these things, and makes it that much easier to use and that much easier to derive value from using Shopkick, and for us to therefore create value for our partners.
I love it. I mean, that's what you've described is the perfect end, to this phase, I think, when it comes to, getting people engaged with this. And ultimately, if you guys can do that, I think that you will prop up this in this entire industry. And we were having a conversation right before we started filming, which is, listen, it's about growing not just the retail space, not just what you guys do, but the whole mobile ecosystem at the same time. And that's what you just described. It's a lofty goal.
I talk with a lot of marketers from a lot of different industries, and everyone says, I need to be doing something in mobile. Like, everyone's kind of crossed the mental barrier of people using mobile devices for this type of thing. More than half the US has a smartphone. They use it. It's with them in store. Everyone gets that. So everyone's like, I want to be doing something in mobile, but what is it? I hope that we do not just recreate the ad network model for mobile and call it a day.
God, I hope not.
Putting small ads on a small screen that consumers tap on accidentally is not using mobile to actually win or move your business forward.
No.
There are things that we provide that others of our kind of, peers in this space and in other categories in the mobile app landscape provide that are so much more rich and integral, and those are harder things to execute from a marketer standpoint, and they might be harder things to understand from an individual integration level, but they're worth investing in. So I hope we see the category really fully embrace mobile and not just try to kind of create it as a systematic or programmatic layer.
Alexis, I could not agree with you more. You know what? If there was like a down with banner ads, maybe I'm going to start the LinkedIn group, right? Down with mobile banner ads. This is a different medium. This requires different thinking. It is not just about taking your stupid newspaper ad and shrinking it down from the web into a mobile device. I wholeheartedly agree. If we could have that transform, get people away from that kind of thinking, I think that should be the goal for every mobile company.
Awesome. Well, you should join one of our product discussions, because our co-founder Jeff and I spend a lot of time talking with marketers about just that, and talking with some of the world's leading consumer packaged goods brands and consumer electronics brands about how do you drive shoppers to your products at shelf, and what are the right ways to present yourself to inspire that high value behavior. And it's not through little tiles, it's through things that create value, and they're full screen and they're memorable, but they're in context, they're not intrusive. So we have all sorts of stuff to talk about offline.
Oh my God! Well, yeah, this is a movement that I can get fully behind. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, and that's an entire other episode, because
native advertising next episode.
It is. I'll hold you to that. This is final words here. I think that to be doing what you guys are doing in the last 3 years. I can understand the allure of you packing your stuff up based on what we've just had this conversation and heading across the country, landing in sunny California in order to be able to be a part of this, because there are two big industries that are going through such a shift right now. One of them is media, so you're talking about television, newspapers, or, radio and magazines, and the other clearly is retail, and both of them are kind of floundering. And I don't mean that they're dying. I mean they're trying to figure it out. They're reaching for things. They're reaching for people to help. And I think that just based on this short discussion, I think that that's if anything, Shopkick is right there to assist in these guys to create value for their customers and create brand loyalty, which is very important for the success of retail. It's not going away, but it's just in transition.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting called into the all hands.
All right. Listen, Alexis, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. I will direct people to shopkick.com. I will let you get to your meeting. I've taken so much of your time. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you as well, yeah, and I hope everyone downloads the app and can certainly get in touch with me at alexis@shopkick.com if anyone has any questions or wants to chat.
That's great. Alexis, thank you so much.
All right. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.